Here we go. What is going on? Cover One crew. Hope everybody is doing great. Welcome back to the show. I am glad to be here because off-season content is going to start ramping up here. So why not give you guys a little bit of a taste of something that I've been talking with some buddies about. We've been debating. You're going to see it in the off-season a lot. Going to be a huge hot topic, and that is Lamar Jackson. Mr. Lamar Jackson, is he done with these Baltimore Ravens? Is he done? Is it over? Is the divorce underway? He didn't show up to that contest, so everyone's speculating what is the next move for Mr. Lamar Jackson. And I want to break this down because not only does fantasy football have, fantasy implication, but everything going on within the team dynamics also impacts our fantasy clubs. Where could Lamar go? Is he going to stay? Is he going to go? I got a lot of stuff to discuss about Mr. Lamar Jackson. So do me that favor before we get started. Hit that like button and hit that subscribe button if you dig the content. I truly appreciate it. But let's dive into what is going to happen with Mr. Lamar Jackson. So like I'm saying, the entire offseason is going to be predicated and dictated upon where is Lamar Jackson going to go? Does he want to stay in Baltimore? Does he want to get traded? You know the Ravens are not going to release this man and let him just walk without getting any compensation back. However, we dive into these statistics right off the bat. Career stats look so good for a Lamar Jackson overall when you're talking total yards and total touchdowns. But, you break it down season by season. 2018, he was drafted to be the eventual heir apparent to Joe Flacco, which it did come to fruition. 58% completions in 7 games, 1,200 yards, 6 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He almost ran for 700 yards and 5 touchdowns in that rookie campaign. This is why they thought that Lamar Jackson could be, the potential franchise quarterback in Baltimore, and he repaid them handsomely in 2019. 15 games, 66.1% completions, 27 yards, 36 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. Added another 1,200 rushing yards and 7 touchdowns. He made the league MVP that year. And rightly so. It was just an incredible season that Lamar Jackson put up that year. He was absolutely an unstoppable force on the ground with the run game. The Ravens ran the ball something crazy, like 696 times that year. And it was all behind the great talents of Lamar Jackson. What a fabulous year. And the barometer was just pointing the needle up because that year was so good. But we did see somewhat of a regression in 2020. 15 games, 27-57 in yardage, 26 TDs to 9 interceptions. So the TDs went down, interceptions went up, yards rushing 1,005 and 7 touchdowns. Even the carries went down by about 20. And the rushing yards went down by about 200. So you saw a little bit of regression in Lamar's game statistic-wise, but he was still an absolute playmaker and baller on the field. Still nothing to get concerned about for Baltimore to believe that Lamar Jackson's needle wasn't pointing in the right direction. In that offseason, going into 2020, we knew that, or into 2021, we knew everyone was criticizing the fact, could Lamar be that trusted passer that the NFL requires? Could he put the team on his back with his arm, not his legs? Injuries were happening as well. Is there going to be injury concerns with rushing quarterbacks like we always see? Everyone always goes back to RG3, how that career basically ended. Lamar Jackson is a specimen. He is a freak athlete, and he can make plays happen. No kidding. Lamar definitely showed that he is a capable passer in this league. Consistent completion percentage, like 2019, 66%, 2020, 64%, 2021, 64.4%. Very consistent across the board in what they're asking him to do, and he is repaying them. He doesn't turn the ball over as frequent as some people would believe. 2021 was the outlier when it came to interceptions as well. He did get hurt that year. 12 games he only played, 28-82 in yardage, 16 TDs to 13 interceptions. His highest recorded interception rate thus far in his career, man. 767 rushing yards and only 2 rushing scores. And again, the rushing attempts started to drop. They tried to, force the issue, but it is good growing pains for a quarterback to learn from. We've seen this with how many quarterbacks in the NFL. By the time you're in your 3rd and 4th year, you want to see that progression in the passing aptitude, like we're seeing with a Jalen Hurts type of deal, like we saw with Josh Allen. Patrick Mahomes was a freak in general. He sat his first year, and he was basically fresh out the gates and was able to dissect everything across the field. But he's the outlier. That's not the standard. That's the exception to the rule. And Lamar Jackson this past year, 12 games, we saw he got injured, hurt the PCL on the knee injury, 62.3% completions, 22-42 in yards, 17 TDs, I should say, and 7 interceptions. Again, roughly around around the same yardage, 764 and 3 rushing touchdowns. So overall, Lamar Jackson's stat line has been extremely consistent, but it hasn't been over the top, and that has been everybody's problem when they start discussing a Lamar Jackson. When you're going to career statistics overall, I mean, you're talking 12,000 yards, 101 passing TDs, 38 interceptions, rushing yards, almost 4,500 rushing yards and 24 scores. These are great statistics when you talk about Lamar Jackson in his contract negotiations. No kidding. Regular season stats, 45 wins to only 16 losses. He's a great regular season quarterback. Playoffs, this is the problem. Playoffs, you talking about playoffs? 1-3 in 4 games. He's only won 1 playoff game in his entire career. This is the biggest problem. Everyone's going to continue to criticize. If you can't win in the big times, in the big show, these are always going to be your issues where everyone constantly comes back to. His career fantasy statistics. I told you, man, everything correlates. Real life football to fantasy football always correlates. 2018, he was a QB 19. Obviously, only he took over from Joe Flacco sparingly, only played those 7 games. 2019, he was the QB1 as he should have been, being that MVP season, man. 421 points Lamar Jackson put up. He was definitely the runaway quarterback one that season. But as we see, 2020 to 2022, 341 points, 252 points, and 243 points respectively in the consecutive seasons after his MVP campaign. This is a problem because it continues to go down. You're seeing the trends not go in the right direction. You're seeing the injuries pile up just a little bit more. These are not good signs for a quarterback who chose to bet on himself this year to try to get that big bag of money that he was hoping he was going to get. Statistically, he is a good quarterback overall, but you can see some trajectory go down chart-wise, and it's not a good sign if you're Lamar Jackson, especially after he hurt his knee and they did not proceed in the playoffs with Tyler Huntley. Just not a good look overall. I wanted to put this in here just real quick, a little comparison between Lamar Jackson and a Josh Allen. I'm not going to say that, we can compare them apples to apples because it truly isn't based on the roster, and I'll get into that as well. But Lamar Jackson versus Josh Allen is a good a good comparison because they were drafted in the same draft class. It's very good, to at least see where both these individuals are at and how Lamar Jackson shakes down to somebody like a Josh Allen. Okay, and I'll get into the rosters and everything after that, so stay. Don't think I'm bashing Lamar Jackson because I'm really not. I'm a big fan of his game. We just got to make, the storyline set here on what is going on. We know Josh Allen, we'll start there, man. Career statistics, 18,000 yards, over 18,000 yards, 138 touchdowns, 60 interceptions, where Lamar Jackson, 12,000 yards, 101 touchdowns, and 38 receptions. While Josh Allen does turn the ball over more frequently, he does showcase bigger playability, especially through the air. That's what the NFL teams covet these days. They want that true franchise quarterback that can pass the ball with high regularity. Josh Allen is proving he is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Not saying Lamar Jackson isn't, but you would like to see that, the passing aptitude, like I said, continue to move forward, right? Rushing upside. This is why it's a good comp, because Josh Allen is a running quarterback as well. Lamar Jackson, 727 attempts for 4,437 yards, where Josh Allen is almost at 600 or 550, 546 attempts for 3,087 yards and 38 touchdowns. So there you go, even more. Josh Allen is outscoring Lamar Jackson already in rushing touchdowns in these 5 years, where Lamar is such a massive. I don't want to say he relies on the run game, but when he knows that a play can be made, Lamar Jackson is definitely taken off. But obviously, Baltimore's scheme is different, where Josh Allen is typically a running threat in the red zone more than Lamar is, where they use the running backs in Baltimore in the red zone inside the 5. That's where the TD totals do dip for a Lamar Jackson, where they actually rely on a Josh Allen in Buffalo to score those touchdowns. That's why his stats are inflated in that respect as well. Regular season record, like I said, 45-16 wins to losses for Lamar Jackson, where Josh Allen 52-24. So in season, both men have been winners. This is a good thing when you're talking about Lamar Jackson going with his agent, going to the Ravens, saying, "I want my bag, give me my money." That's a good sign to say. He's very close to Josh Allen when it comes to winning percentage. Playoff record. This is the problem. 1-3, like I said, in 4 games, where Josh Allen 4-3 in the playoffs. That's not necessarily great record either, but Josh Allen has been to an AFC Championship game, and he was 13 seconds away from going to a second one. So this is the difference between the two quarterbacks as we sit today. But like I'm saying, okay, you're talking about contracts. Here we go with the contracts as well. We know the next quarterback up for the contract is determined on what the last quarterback got paid. Josh Allen, he got his bag, man. 6 years, $258 million, $150 million of that was fully guaranteed. Lamar Jackson, he got the contract extension offered this past offseason. The Ravens did want him to re-sign that 6-year deal. $250 was the rumor, with $133 million of that being guaranteed money. So this is the thing. Lamar turned that down. Yes, it was $8 million total lower than a Josh Allen, and the guarantee money almost $20 million less. So the guaranteed dollars is where these guys are going, especially for a guy like Lamar Jackson, who wants to, protect himself because he knows he's a running quarterback more than any other in the NFL, and injuries are going to pile up on this man more than they would for, say, even a Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, because they don't run the ball as much and as frequent as a Lamar Jackson does. So he did turn it down, bet on himself, and I mean, we saw how the season did end up. But when we talk about, let's be fair with Lamar Jackson, okay? Let's be a little bit reasonable here. Let's talk about this supporting cast, and lack thereof, I should say, because he has not had one, okay? There are good talents that he does have, always, good rushing upside on this Baltimore Ravens team. They are built with the tight end position in mind, double tight end sets, and multiple running backs to help assist Lamar Jackson in the run game. You go to 2018, where he did play those 7 games. Willie Snead, Michael Crabtree, John Smoke Brown, Nick Boyle, and Mark Andrews was the rookie season for him that year in 2018. Fine, we're going to call that one a wash because it was only 7 games for Lamar. In 2018, what did they give him? Same old, and removed Crabtree and John Brown. We got Willie Snead, Seth Roberts, Miles Boykin. You kidding me? You kidding me with this Baltimore in 2019, man? Okay, fine. You go and you draft yourself a Marquise Hollywood Brown. You bring some upside, but he was still not necessarily going to be a prototypical guy that Lamar could trust in 2019. Mark Andrews still behind Nick Boyle on this roster. This was the problem. He's still not getting supportive pieces. Fine, it was only year 2 of Lamar Jackson. Give that a wash for Baltimore as well and say, okay, they gave him some pieces. They didn't give him a lot of pieces. 2020. The problems continue. You still got Miles Boykin. You got Hollywood Brown. You got Willie Snead. This is your trio once again. What are you doing? You did not address this problem whatsoever, and you expect Lamar Jackson to do wonders. Yes, I understand 2019, it was a MVP season, so they thought, hey, we can continue this path, give him secondary graded wide receivers, and he should be able to continue. And you wonder why Lamar Jackson didn't, go over and beyond what he did in that 2019 season. Okay, fine. You still got Nick Boyle, still got Mark Andrews, but as you go into 2020, you still see, or 2021, you still see the same problem. Sammy Watkins. This was your answer to this problem at wide receiver, going to get a guy like Sammy Watkins just because he played well with the Kansas City Chiefs and they won the Super Bowl? You kidding me? This is not what you do, but this is what Baltimore does. Hollywood Brown starting to turn a corner in 2021. He's looking like the guy that can be trusted. Deep threat appeal. That was a positive. You needed a true wide receiver 1 to support a Hollywood Brown. That is exactly what they did not do. Miles Boykin still on this roster. They did draft themselves a Rashad Bateman rookie season 2021. This was positives. You were saying, okay, could Rashad Bateman team up with Marquise Brown and they could be that dynamic 1-2 punch? Did not necessarily come to fruition and come to pass. Bateman showed flashes in his rookie year. Definitely needed time to grow as well. You were talking probably year 2, year 3, where Bateman could be potentially explode as a wide receiver 1. Nick Boyle, Mark Andrews still on this roster. Andrews became a number 1 priority for Lamar Jackson over the past 2 years, and Andrews still continues to be a top tight end producer. 2022, Rashad Bateman. They didn't necessarily add except secondary pieces again. Fine, Rashad Bateman. You got trust in him as your wide receiver 1. I can't blame you. He's a great talent. Devin Duvernay. You traded Hollywood Brown. He's no longer there. I'm a fan of Duvernay. He is a good secondary piece. He is not a number 1 wide receiver. Look what happened. Rashad Bateman goes down with injury. Now Devin Duvernay had to step up to be the guy, and he just got locked up in coverage, and there was nowhere for Lamar to throw. Demarcus Robinson, he became the secondary piece. He was at least trying to get open, which he did, but it was not near enough. They couldn't make the pass game work the way they wanted it to go. James Prochet, you kidding me? Can't even make that catch. Okay, fine. I'm gonna be a little bit critical on the man. I think he short-armed that ball. He could have got that on the Hail Mary from Tyler Huntley. But hey, we'll move on. I digress. And Mark Andrews continues to be that guy, but he was dealing with injuries this year. So here's the problem. You deal with all these injuries. Mark Andrews, Rashad Bateman, what did you have left in the cupboards for Lamar Jackson to throw to? Not a whole heck of a lot. So now you got a problem. And now you're going to say this is Lamar Jackson's fault? This is not Lamar Jackson's fault when it comes to his supporting cast whatsoever. And I cannot support what Baltimore has done to this man. When you're comparing, and I'm comparing Josh Allen to Lamar Jackson only statistically to paint the picture of where they sit as individuals. But when we talk about the team dynamics and we continue down the path of, say, the Buffalo Bills and say Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis, James Cook, they're trying Dawson Knox. They're trying many ways. They had Cole Beasley. Then they went and got Crowder. There was, Stephon Diggs is a true alpha dog wide receiver one in this league. You give Lamar Jackson a Stephon Diggs and you tell me what they're going to be able to accomplish on this field. This is why I'm going to constantly blame Baltimore for their mismanagement in this, roster construction, because they continuously just wanted to be that ground and pound team, use Lamar Jackson in the run game, have the double tight end sets, and think that they can beat teams with secondary wide receivers, with the exception of Rashad Bateman, who the jury is still out on. I still believe he can be a very successful wide receiver one. But I mean, this is the problem. Baltimore did not do him any favors, and you expect him to say, I'm not going to bet on myself and want more money because I know what kind of player I am? Absolutely he is. So the questions are, man, based on all of that info, what's next for Lamar Jackson? This is it. What is next? Are the injury concerns piling up now, okay? A couple years in a row now, he's dealing with some injuries, ankle and knee now. He's a running quarterback. Eventually, his body is going to break down quicker than a lot of other quarterbacks will. That's why he was trying to be that pocket guy. That's why he was trying to, throw the ball a lot more and dissect the field. Injury concerns are going to be a problem as long as Lamar Jackson continues to run the ball anywhere over 500 times a season. And this is an issue for the Baltimore Ravens on why they wanted to hedge their bets and say, we'll still give you $133 million guaranteed, but we're not going to go above and beyond that. And Lamar Jackson definitely had a problem with that. Does he get the contract extension? Him not showing up to this contest, it brings a debate, okay? Do I fault Lamar Jackson for not showing up? I just think it did him no benefit. If he shows up, it's a benefit. It proves that you're a leader. You're there for the guys. You're there for the team. I don't fault him for, staying home and being like, well, you guys don't value me. I feel disrespected. Then fine. I completely understand. I'm all for the player wanting to get his money that he deserves, and it's in his rights for the respect factor as well. But it did him more of a disservice, in my opinion, to stay home than it did to come to the field. But hey, we will understand what happens in this offseason as a divorce. It looks like it's looming between these two teams, but you do got to understand they will not let Lamar Jackson just walk. They will franchise tag this man. Even though the dollars are going to be like $45 million for a franchise tag for quarterbacks this coming season, the cap should go up as well, so there will be more disposable income for these teams to maneuver money around. But do they franchise tag him? Do they potentially trade him to another team? This is the possibility as well. Will he put up such a stink that he does not want to play in Baltimore anymore? He wants a new location. He wants to move on. He wants a fresh start. Tag me, trade me, and let the other team give me the contract extension. That is very possible as well, and we are going to hear massive amounts of storylines when it comes to this. Where could he go? Where is he going to go? Had another person on Twitter suggest Miami. K-Mac, I know you're out there, man, but he suggests Miami. Could you imagine a Lamar Jackson with a Jalen Waddle and a Tyreek Hill? Now we're talking. And then Lamar has no more excuses. Right now, he's got excuses. You didn't give me the supportive pieces to make my career excel. I'm on that side with Lamar Jackson 110%. The injury concerns do bother me because he is that rushing quarterback with high-end upside, and he does take shots. So this is the problem. One slip like he did, and he falls on his knee, and PCL gets torn like that. Not good news for a quarterback that you're wanting to, throw up $250 million at. But, I mean, this is the running tally, what we're talking about. Lamar Jackson, what's it going to be this offseason? It's going to be very interesting. Now that the Ravens season is over, it's fun to dissect or early what they're going to potentially do. Could the Ravens move on from Lamar Jackson and recover? We'll see. I mean, that's going to be a very tall task in itself as well. But can you afford $45 million on the franchise tag to let Lamar Jackson go and then revamp your entire team? That's another headache. So the Ravens do have some problems on their hands. Lamar Jackson, okay, we talk about the player with the franchise tag as well. How much leverage do they really have? So unless the Ravens do cave and say, fine, we don't want to have a quarterback that does not want to be here, Lamar Jackson's just got to continue to put up that stink. And maybe that's why he stayed home and said, I'm done with y'all at this point. Hence why I'm having this conversation, because it is fun. But hey, we will see what is going to happen with Lamar Jackson this offseason, because it will be interesting. So there you have it. That is some, pre-off-season content for y'all. Give you a little taste of what's about to come. I got so much stuff in the works for y'all. Scouting reports, dynasty fantasy football, individual player profile breakdowns. I'm telling y'all, all y'all on the podcast, come over to the YouTube side and check it out, man. I got good graphics for y'all to see. But I always appreciate everybody that's coming on, man. The subscribers are starting to come up. You guys are doing a wonderful job hitting the like button for me. Truly, truly appreciate y'all. It helps grow this channel that much more. But nevertheless, as always, don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, jump in those comments. Give me your thoughts. Where do you think Lamar is going to go? Do you think he stays in Baltimore? Do you think he moves on to another club? Are you a fan of Lamar Jackson, et cetera, et cetera? Throw them in the comments. I'll definitely answer you back. We'll have a good discussion. But nevertheless, we'll see you next time. I am out.